Hello everyone, welcome to the class. Nuclear part 7. Today I am going to discuss the nuclear reactor. The nuclear reactor is a one which provides the nuclear energy continuously. That is called nuclear reactor, right? So this nuclear reactor, the principle of the nuclear reactor is controlled chain reaction. There are two types of reactions are there: controlled chain reaction and uncontrolled chain reaction. In the nuclear fission, we have studied that when a uranium-235 92 radioactive substance is bombarded with a slow-moving neutron, first it absorbs that neutron and become a compound of uranium-236, and then it splits into two small nuclei of comparable masses, barium and krypton, plus releasing 3 neutrons, and along with that a large amount of energy of 200 million electron volt, right? So here the splitting process is called nuclear fission. The same process is used here. Here whatever the splitting of those three neutrons are there, that to happen a nuclear fission we need only one neutron, not 3 neutrons. But after each fission we will get 3 neutrons. Out of 1 neutron is necessary and other 2 neutrons are not required. If we do not remove those neutrons, then it will be uncontrolled. If we control those 2 neutrons, extra neutrons, then it will be a controlled chain reaction. Right? How you remove those unwanted neutrons? Right? So those unwanted neutrons will be absorbed by the control rods or breeder reactors. Nothing but cadmium and boron steel rods are used to absorb those extra neutrons which are not required. If we didn't remove them, the reaction will be spontaneously increases and becomes blast, which is used in the atom bomb. That is uncontrolled reaction. But here, after getting an optimum level of neutron number and particular amount of energy, we stop the reproduction of neutrons by using the control rods, right? So let us understand this nuclear reactor total working and its structure. So this whole container is the nuclear power reactor base, right? Where it consists of 2 parts. First part primary loop and this is secondary loop. In the primary loop where nuclear fission takes place, right? And the secondary loop where that nuclear fission will be converted into heat and steam, and that steam is given to the turbine to rotate, and that turbine is connected in terms of electric generator to produce power. This is the 2 parts of that nuclear reactor. First we study about the primary loop. In the primary loop it consists of fuel, nothing but fuel chambers, right, where the fuels are used. The example of fuels which are used in nuclear reactors are uranium-235, uranium-238, plutonium-239, plutonium-240. All these radioactive substances are used as a fuel in a nuclear reactors, right? This is fuel chambers. Now next will come moderators. Here this color, right? This color is called moderators. Why the moderators are important? See, in a nuclear fission we are using slow neutrons, but actually slow neutrons are not generally we get fast neutrons only. But by substituting these moderators, we'll get those fast neutrons become slower. To make nuclear reaction or nuclear fission, we want slow neutrons. To produce slow neutrons, we use moderators. The general moderators are used as heavy water or graphite. These kinds of materials are used as a moderators, right? Next, after this is a complete fission chamber where fuel chamber present, moderator present, and the control rods are present. What are these control rods? To have a controlled chain reaction, we have to use some rods. Those are control rods, are nothing but to get an optimum level of number of neutrons or fissions. Right? Once we get an optimum fission level, required energy level, further production of neutrons have to be stopped. That is done with the control rods. The commonly used control rods are cadmium and boron steel rods. These are absorbing those extra neutrons and they provide the constant production of neutrons. Right? That's why the energy will be constant. Otherwise, it is uncontrolled and become blast. That should not happen. That's why we are using control rods. Next, here the coolant is supplied. The most commonly coolant is carbon dioxide or heavy water used as a coolant, right? That coolant is supplied through this chamber using a pump, right? That is here during nuclear fission, the large amount of energy whatever releases, that energy is in the form of heat energy. 90% of the energy whatever is there is in the form of heat energy, and it is in the form of fragments of other elements like uranium 235 bombarded with a neutron, which will be a compound of uranium 236, which will give you barium and krypton. That is in terms of heat energy, and 3 protons also releases that. That is in terms of heat energy, and that heat is there present in the fuel chamber. If we supply coolant within the this fuel chamber, that coolant absorb that all heat energy, and coolant is passed through a heat exchanger. In the heat exchanger, what happens? In the heat exchanger, from the condenser we are passing the cool water, such that this is already a coolant is very hot. That hot coolant will provide, this water will be steamed out. That steam will be given to the turbine to rotate this turbine. When the steam is given to the turbine rotates, which in turn rotates the electric generator, and we get the power. The remaining used steam is again given back to the cold water condenser, where it gets cooled down. Again here continuously the reaction taking place, heat is produced, that heat is passed to a heat exchanger, where this water is get heat or steamed because of this coolant, hot coolant. Then it is passed through the pipe and given for make it to fall on the turbine, where turbine rotates, which in turn rotates the electric generator, which gives the continuous supply. This is the working of nuclear reactor. Thank you.